I'm Josiah.
And I'm Adam.
We are Salida Gun Shop.
Today we have Josh O'Neill from Ridge Runners Outfitters and a new septic. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely excited for this one. So, what generation are you in Colorado?
Fifth, from what I'm aware.
Fifth generation Coloradan. And your family, where did they start off in Colorado? Where was their epicenter?
The only thing that I really know is going to be dating back to our ranch in Twin Lakes.
Okay.
That goes back 5 generations that I'm aware of and several different properties.
And was your family involved in the cattle business?
In and out. I think it was one of those things that was based off of necessity, and especially back, I can remember my granddad telling me that, they had a milk cow, so they milked it, and they went down the road and swapped out for chicken eggs with neighbors and just kind of did some bartering.
So it wasn't really opportunistic, it was out of true necessity to survive.
Yes.
In the county. Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the big things I want to kind of touch on is your ranch, the property itself, is truly an important piece to Colorado for the Bow Hunters Association, for the Houndsmen. I'd like to dive a little bit into that. How did that come about?
It all started, the gal that ran, and I can't think of her name, but she ran the Ted Nugent Camp for Kids.
Okay.
And she's a big bow hunter, her daughter's a big bow hunter, and they had brought, the jamboree was always at Camp Hale, and they had moved it to ours. She had known my granddad and talked to him, and he welcomed it, and after he kind of lost the ability to control and just not do it anymore, we kind of took it over, my wife and I, and even before she was my wife, and just kept it going. It's the Ted Nugent Camp for Kids as well as the Colorado Bow Hunters Jamboree is all there.
And so how long has that been going on there? That's many years then, right?
Yeah, I'd say 8-9 years, somewhere in there, if not longer.
And you guys are hosting, these are a few hundred people, correct?
Yeah, I don't know about here the last couple of years, but I know it used to be right around 1,000 people plus for the Bow Hunters Jamboree.
Jeez.
What is the jamboree? Just for anybody that's watching, what does that consist of? Is it multi-day?
It's multi-day. They go from Friday through Sunday, and they set up courses throughout our property, some in the trees, some in some of the flats where it's all 3D targets, and you go at will and just go around and shoot targets, do a course. There's courses for the kids, and if you want to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and beat everybody to the course because you don't want to wait in line, then you go.
Okay.
And it's
so
just
at 1,000 people through that course, that could get pretty, timey, get there early, get it done, or spend the whole day.
Right.
Okay, nice.
And you've been hosting the Houndsman Days for how many years?
Houndsman Days, I think we've been hosting it 6 or 7 years now.
And you were really involved in the Houndsman up until a few years ago, correct?
Yes. Yeah, they were having that Houndsman Days over by Steamboat. They're holding it up there. I went to my first couple ones up there. Great time, great people, a lot of dogs, and then that place was being sold, so I just offered up our place because it's kind of already set up for all the same events. So we had just started hosting it just out of a necessity for somewhere to go, and then was elected president actually of the Houndsman Association, and I have now begun doing different things.
Houndsman Days, what type of events are included in Houndsman Days?
So we used to do a raccoon race, we do a kids race, we do a lion race, a bear race, a bobcat race, and a water race.
These people are coming from all over the state and all over the country?
Yes, we've had people definitely all over the state. We've had people from Wyoming, Utah, just several different places that are into the western big game hounds. Most people, I think, that run hounds, they'll chase bobcats. Some of them specialize in it.
Yeah. How big is the Houndsman Association? Being a nationwide thing and then a state thing, are there different segments?
You know, in comparison to many other groups, I think it's smaller, but have throughout the years gotten bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And there's the Western big game houndsmen is a lot different from, say, the coon dogs from back east and their associations. Their associations are a lot bigger than the Western big games, and usually they're breed specific, as to where your Western big game hounds are a mix of dogs.
Okay.
You know, you take a walker and breed it with a black and tan, and so you're losing that true breed bloodline. But it's come up with some amazing dogs. I started out with black and tans.
Okay.
We've, over the course of the years and just changing and trying new dogs, different things, I've had just about every hound there is, including a basset hound.
Can imagine. Is there any, as a collaboration between like the East Coast groups and like Western, or is it kind of their own separate thing? And then
what I've noticed is that in times where states are not individually fighting for the rights to be a houndsman and be able to hunt with hounds, we're very just alone and kind of by ourselves. But when a fight happens, it seems like you get support from anywhere and everywhere.
That's awesome.
So
it's an amazing collaboration. When help is needed, they rise to the occasion type.
Yes, they most definitely do.
Very, very much, I would say, like Western lifestyle, right?
Yes.
Like neighbor in need, you help them.
Yep.
Otherwise, you kind of just are neighbors.
Right.
Right. How did you cut your teeth on hounds? Where did that all start?
It started, I was actually sitting under a willow with a buddy duck hunting, and he got a call from another guy, and the other guy was wanting to sell him a dog and seeing if he wanted one. And he put the phone kind of on his lap, and he looked at me and he's like, "You want to own a hound?" I had asked, questions about lion hunting. Well, I guess, how much? And I think it was $250. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. And that's where it all started. The prices have definitely gone up, just with the cost of everything's gone up.
Yeah.
But I think it hasn't increased like everything else.
Okay.
You still can get pups for, $300-400 and from individuals. Not to say that those are going to be the best, but you can definitely get started there.
So the training involved, how involved were you with the training of your first?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it was agonizing. It was horrible. I was learning and screwing up more than the dog was.
Yeah.
Definitely a learning curve. It was, how do you get this dog to track? You hear everything from, they sell gland scent and you try that and run it on a rag and see if pup would follow it, versus cut up hot dogs. I always remember that one. Somebody told me cut up hot dogs when they're just pups and lay them out and let them trail it, and each time they get to one, they eat it, and it's a treat for them, and they keep going.
And then the dog teaches you that's not the way, or that's the way, along the different techniques, I guess.
I was very fortunate. I bought a dog from a guy over by Grand Junction. Finished dog. I spent a lot of money on him. At least I thought it was a lot of money at the time. And it was a finished dog, and he told me he guaranteed the dog do it all and wouldn't trash, wouldn't run off game. I'm like, all right. So I bought him, and that dog trained a lot of pups for me.
Oh.
And you still got to do your part as far as, loading in the truck and the little essentials. But I like to have the dogs trained by other dogs. It seems to help better, and to me it brings out more of that just raw talent versus taught talent.
Yeah. Was it pretty significant in time needed for the dog to learn from another dog, like a 6-month, or a year type process learning, or because obviously you tried to train without and learn like the inherited information that maybe a dog was passing on was better consumed faster?
Every dog's a little different.
Okay.
You got dogs that start and are going good at 8-9 months old. And then you have other dogs where they're not really getting it until about 2 years. It's definitely a long process. You got to be in it for the long haul.
When you got that first dog and you were able to go on your first track, do you remember that?
Like it was yesterday.
Let's hear about that.
A good friend of mine, him and I both going, found a track, went up a steep hill. I could not make it. I mean, I didn't know what to do. I was out of breath. I was horrible. Found another track, believe it was a little bit later that day, and ended up going through some pretty nasty country. Finally got to a tree, and it wasn't just my dog, it was my friends' dogs, and they were finished. I mean, they were good. Still remember them to this day, and there's nothing like walking up to your first lion in a tree. It is something that's just amazing, magnificent.
Yeah. So describe what you mean by finish.
When I say a finished dog, and I guess that to me, a finished dog is something that you can put on a track, and you don't have to worry about if a deer track crosses the lion track, that it goes and chases a deer or an elk. But they're all still hounds. I mean,
they're just locked in.
They're locked in most of the time. Now, you're going to have finished dogs that if a rabbit jumps up right in front of them, you're probably going to get a rabbit chase for a few minutes, but they realize they're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So,
how has the technology changed from when you did that first track to now? Like, what did you see that was a huge game changer?
It was when I started, it was very, very basic GPS. And even before I started, it was telemetry collars. And before then, it was just bells on dogs.
Yeah.
You didn't have the GPS and everything like we have now. When I started, I had bought a used Garmin system, and it was very basic. There wasn't our hunt maps or anything to really be able to go off of. It was just, here you are and your dog's over here. So it's come a long way. I mean, now you can sit in your pickup with a bigger screen Garmin. I always call them the big screens because, I don't know, they're pretty big, and it tells you exactly where the dog is, how far he is from you.
Oh, wow.
And you can scroll through it, see landowner, of course, just like any other hunt map out there. So it's come a long ways.
So you really knew kind of where you were at previous to all that technology, just to make sure, like, you're not, encroaching on somebody else's property that is a no-go on, or you had a relationship with, most of the landowners and or knowing, like,
right.
we're done. I gotta get the dog off the land.
Yep. Yeah, you can't. That's one of them deals. It's getting tougher and tougher even now, I think, than ever before, because there is so much private land, and especially around Chaffee County, Lake County. It used to be, if something wasn't necessarily fenced or posted, you kind of knew historically where the private tracks were.
Gotcha.
And now it seems like there's been more that have been popped up, or it's like, well, somebody come in and they wanted a cabin and they actually own the right to that road, and you can't go travel through, say, X 2-track road.
So it's not public or private land with public access type thing?
Right.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that, and just the housing developments you never thought were there. You never knew were there. And then, of course, the ownership changes of breaking up some of the ranches and everything within Chaffee County and Lake County all around has made some giant changes in what we're able to do.
Yeah.
And able to go.
With that encroachment or change, I say encroachment like it's a bad thing, but the county changes, the counties, get developed and everything. Do you think that changed the lions' behavior at all, or did they kind of stay pretty much in their normal behavior and just...
I think it's most definitely changed.
Yeah.
Like I said, everything kind of changes. The county changes. We have so many more people active in our public lands and out in the wilderness that, the hiking, the biking, all the trails, all the different things. We have more people in the woods than ever before. Yeah. So I think it hadn't only changed lions' behaviors, but bears and deer and elk.
Yeah.
I think it's changed all of it within, my short amount of lifetime.
I think it's something to talk to the viewers about, maybe just give them a little bit of insight of how deep into this hounds stuff you are or were when you were running pretty hot and heavy with, how many hounds were you running?
And what's the season look like for you? Like, is it only that, and like how in depth is that a 9-to-5 job?
That's a very good question. I started out and I'd never finished a buck in my entire life. And when I started hound hunting, I finished my first buck. It was first of several for me, and just trying to learn how to train dogs and different traits. And I got extremely deep into it. I went, as many people have told me, it's either, I don't dip my toe into things. I just kind of go all the way.
Yeah.
And I'd say I definitely went all the way. The hunting season usually start towards the end of November and go all the way through March.
Okay.
And then there was also a time period in there where we had an April season. And then, at least here in Colorado. And when you get done there, you just look for other states. And I've had the opportunity to even go run bears in Maryland. And, you know, with some friends up there that got hounds, and go up there with them, and it's just all sorts of fun.
Yeah.
No matter what you look for. And as far as timeline, it's an everyday job, whether you're hunting or not. You always got to make sure the dogs are taken care of, that they're fed good. This one don't like this food, so you swap that dog out, and you got 2 pallets of dog food, but this one takes something different. And it's always something new, and it's always something going. And
so almost a pampered life outside of out there and just running and chasing and tracking.
Yeah.
I mean, these are
for the dogs. Yeah.
These are high performance athletes.
Yes.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I mean, they're not just any type of dog. These things are 100% treated well to the max.
They really are. Everybody I've ever ran into, that the one common thing that you can talk to any houndsman on is dog food. Well, what dog food are you running today? And it's, you know, well, we was feeding X brand for however long, and it was doing really good, but now, I don't know, the stools and the dogs are changing, so we've swapped over to another food, and it seems to be working really good now. And it's constant. You can go down and buy just a basic dog food, but I always went for a high protein, high fat, because the dogs seem to always take that better and be able to maintain their weight.
Yeah.
And you could run them, you know, Monday, Tuesday, and then you got to get different set of dogs, because you might be wearing those dogs down.
Yeah. So the F1 of the type, like it's open or closed.
Yes.
For them. They're all on, or they're off and regenerating their food stores. And
yes.
Wow.
Yeah, they're amazing. You never know how tough a dog is till you hunt one hard.
Yeah.
And they're an amazing creature.
So, to knowing how tough the dog is, did you ever feel like you ever had to push a dog, or did the dog expect to be at a certain level and just pushed itself?
I think both.
Yeah.
You get some dogs that, I had one, he was an amazing dog. He had so much heart. I've never seen it like it in any other dog. He just had so much heart, and his feet weren't the toughest, so you really had to watch him, but he'd run his feet off.
Wow.
And then it takes, you know, over a month to get him healed back up, and that's just something you can't afford, and you don't want to see your dogs go through that.
Yeah. Was it hard to see taking that dog out and leaving him at home, to know that he's going to be good in the couple days, so I don't overrun him and he, you know, hurts himself type thing? Could you see the pain that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you walk down to the kennel or wherever you got him, and you let the other ones go, and he's sitting right there just raring to go, and you're like, no, you got to stay home. And it bothers you a little bit, but you know it's for the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people have a misconception about houndsmen, and one of the things that I always have kind of been interested in, or at least what I've seen in it, is you guys catch a lot of lions in a tree, right? But you don't take a lot of lions. It's very pinpoint, correct? Like,
yes.
On what you're taking off the landscape?
Yes. Yeah, it's extremely. You can catch. There's been years where we've caught 80% of our lions and not killed 20, if not less percentage. And that would be, to me, a more common year than kill more than what your average on catching is. Mm-hmm. It is very, very. You catch a lot more than what you'll ever kill, and I don't know any houndsman that's any different.
Is that per regulation, or is that just like a standard, or what would cause that 80% to turn into, of catching to take down so low?
I would say just kind of an unspoken rule.
Okay.
And the one argument always amongst houndsmen is, well, did you take a female? Well, no, I didn't take that one. Well, who took the female? We primarily always want to save the females because they're going to produce more lions.
Right.
And that was always a topic every year, year after year. Well, let's make sure we don't kill too many females. We don't take too many out of the landscape. And that's something that CPW has tried to give us a threshold on. I want to say it's 20-some%. Don't quote me on that number of the quotas. What their regulation is, or else they start deducting the amount of lions that we can take out of a quota unit.
That's interesting. You kind of brought CPW up. Did you worked with CPW, correct, in helping them?
No. I was asked to on one of the studies, and I chose not to.
But they do use hounds to place collars.
Yes.
And that's to get data for populations or something?
Populations,
movement,
all the travel, resident lions versus lions that are possibly just traveling through the area, trying to find their new home ground.
With all your experience in this, where would you say the lion population is currently?
I would say it's extremely healthy.
Extremely healthy. Do you think that the current numbers or the way that it's currently set up as a houndsman, this isn't like biology, but this is like your
boots on the ground.
Boots
right?
on the ground, right? You're catching lions left and right. Do you think there's room for more take for still healthy?
I think as far as some of the units that I've hunted, yes, I think there's room for it. In other quota units, talking to friends and other houndsmen, I would say maybe not so much. It is definitely area specific, and each quota unit needs to be treated just that way, because there might be more pressure in this quota unit over here versus the quota unit here.
Do you think the quota units are drafted appropriately? The only reason why I ask that, and it's not to get into a scuffle about CPW or anything of that sort, but it's just for a knowledge basis of like the people that don't know, is like, because they redrafted units, correct?
Correct.
And they changed the structure more recently. And there's a lot of take in certain areas, but less take in other areas, but might need more take in the areas where there's less, and less in the ones that they're taking more. The very confusing question there, but
Yeah, multifaceted.
Yes, I think I'm very opinionated on that, especially when I was boots on the ground hunting every day. But looking back at it, now that I've had a little bit of time off and just able to see and think about things as a whole, the way things were aren't the way things are. So I think before my opinion may have been wrong, it may have been right. And it's hard to say, but we're never going to know unless we try to reshape it, to try something new. Well, this works over here, let's try it. Why not try it for a few years? And the sad part about all of it is it takes 5+ years to even get a grasp on, is this truly the best for our animals? Is it going to be the best for the lion? Well, maybe it's the best for the lion, but is it the best for the deer and the elk population or the turkey population?
It's kind of interesting to bring in the other species that are consumed by the lion population. With 127, the removal of, hunting mountain lions being taken off the table. What was your opinion looking at that ballot initiative of removing the ability to hunt lions in the state of Colorado, to include bobcats? When you first saw that, what was your gut instinct on what that would do for the state of Colorado and the species that thrive here right now?
It would ruin it.
Yeah.
It would absolutely be detrimental to our ecosystem, no matter how you looked at it. You can't take an apex predator completely out that's stayed here, that's survived. If we did, we wouldn't. You'd get more I think you'd get more diseases in your elk and your deer populations. And, there's the one thing that I have noticed in lions is most of the lions that I've ever skinned out all have porcupine quills in them. They even feed on a porcupine.
Hadn't thought that.
Yes. So I think it would have been detrimental to everything.
Yeah.
Maybe we would have more elk and more deer, but to what extent?
All right.
What's your thoughts on if Colorado were to revert back on being able to use hounds for bears? Do you think Colorado would be better positioned for a better ecosystem?
Yes. Our bears learn. Bears are very smart. They understand where the easy food source is. That's why it doesn't matter where you're at, you're going to have a bear at the landfill. It doesn't matter whether it's, say, the Leadville landfill or Chaffee County landfill. Doesn't matter where, there's going to be a bear.
Do either of you know what the nuisance level, or I'm not even sure what the quote is, like the nuisance bears is rising?
I'm not sure what the numbers are.
But I know in the last meeting that they had, they brought up that there's been a lot more bear being called in nuisance. I mean, even local Howard, Fremont County, there's one in our neighborhood that keeps coming around, and it doesn't take much time for them to be categorized as a nuisance bear and have to be removed.
Right.
I would say the big thing is if you look at what the state's doing, right, is they're injecting money to local towns, municipalities for nuisance bears, right? Instead of, let's say,
Conservation.
going the conservation route and saying, hey, maybe we were wrong about removing hounds and going after bears, which I feel like personally, and I might be biased on this, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong, when you chase a lion with hounds, chase a bear with hounds, you can be very selective, very, very selective. Male, female, right? Old age class, right? Versus with lions. With bears, currently how it sits, I would say it's a 95% total random stat there, but like opportunistic, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, there's a bear there. Oh, he looks pretty big, or, looks right, no cubs. I'm bear hunting. I'm going to take that bear. Versus hounds, makes them learn, right? Stay away from the towns, stay away from the trash.
Yeah.
They go up in a tree. Oh, hey, that's actually like a 2-3-year-old bear. Okay,
Right.
On to the next.
No, it's 100% that way. In the use of hounds, and it's just my personal opinion of it, but the use of hounds on any game animal, you're able to look at that bear, you're able to look at that lion, judge it for everything that it is. Same as baiting a bear, and I've never baited a bear, but I've seen, the hunting shows and everything where they lay out a 55-gallon drum where you're allowed to bait. So you can base, what that 55-gallon drum looks like
Size,
at your point of view. So you can judge the size of that animal. And hound hunting is no different.
Yeah.
When I first seen my very first lion, I thought it was the biggest lion there was. I mean, you look up in the tree and it's like, wow, that thing's huge. And in retrospect and seeing many, many lions after that, no, it wasn't the biggest. And you learn different things about lions and size and what makes an absolute giant, is it? We've caught some lions that the heads on them just been huge, but they've been a shorter bodied cat and they're not long, or they're not as filled out, not as broad. And you can tell a lot of those when you're looking at them in the tree. So the 100%, it's the most effective, best way to judge what you're going to take.
Have you ever been asked to track a lion on, a personal property or something that they believe the lion might end up being a potential nuisance, or they're worried about their livestock or their pets or whatever it is, that you've treated the lion and realized this is not something we need to take, it's not going to be a nuisance, or what were you able to help create more information instead of just saying, nope, we treat it, we got to take it? I mean, with that percentage that you mentioned before, did you get a lot of those types of requests from people, or?
Yeah, you did have a few.
Yeah.
There's been several, and it's very hard to be able to get a call from a landowner. They're like, hey, there's a lion.
Yeah.
I'm afraid it's going to kill my livestock. Okay, so you go out there. Is it not? You know, you're weighing a lot of it. You don't want to give up your permission to hunt that property or hunt for that landowner. And also the thing is, in Colorado too, that is a big thing to anybody that runs hounds, is if you go out there with your hounds and you're the only license there, if you shoot that lion, you cannot run your dogs the rest of the year. You're done. Now, you got to have a valid license.
Okay.
So in the adult world, most of us work Monday through Friday, or whatever the case may be.
Mm.
And the best time to ever hunt a course and find fresh tracks is going to be right after a fresh snow. You can see them a lot easier. And you call your buddy and you're like, hey, I got a lion track. Well, I got to work. Oh yeah, it is Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the morning, So it's tough you got a lot of things riding on it.
Okay.
And it's not just, we found a lion track, we're gonna go kill it. Is it the right lion?
Mm-hmm.
Is it what we want? Is this lion going to be worth not pursuing anymore the rest of the year?
Right.
And there's been, I don't know, I'd say the last 6 years, I never killed a lion.
So you would help facilitate the tracking, treeing it, and then somebody else with a tag, with a license, would then be the one taking?
Yes.
Okay.
That, or you just go out and try to find that lion that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot harder than what anybody thinks. You're like, well, it's really got to fit into what I'd like. And honestly, for me, it was, I'd rather see him in the tree.
Yeah.
Because after you shoot him, it's nothing but work. And it's a lot funner to look at him in a tree and then walk away versus having to carry him out and worry about the dogs and the lion. And so it's a lot better just to go and see him and go home, take a few pictures.
A little practice.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the nomenclature of trophy hunting is more so caught through the view of a camera than it is behind the scope or the sights of a gun.
Yes. It's trophy hunting, I think, is both a very good term and a very, very horrible term.
Yeah.
You look at anything, deer, lions, elk, any animal that we're going to hunt or pursue, in a way, yes, you want that trophy. You want an older, more mature deer. Does that mean that it is trophy and that's what we're after? No, that's probably what's going to be best for that ecosystem. If we go kill a 2-year-old, well, that 2-year-old hadn't had its time to live and reproduce and keep those genetics going. So going for a bigger, more mature animal is a lot better way to think about the reproduction cycle of our animals and what we have around. From what I've seen a kitten that's, little itty bitty, say, in January.
Oh, wow.
To where in the same month I've seen a sub-adult that's less than a year, still has spots, but is very mature for being a sub-adult.
But the only way you would be able to see that is with dogs, tracking, treeing.
Yes.
What is the process of actually getting a license in the state of Colorado? What did that look like? Has it changed since you've been doing it?
Since I've been doing it, it has not changed. You go in, you have to take a written test.
A test? To hunt something? It's so odd. I can't imagine hunting an apex predator. You would have to take a test.
Right.
Is that the only animal in the state of Colorado that you have to take a test on?
No, that's why we have hunter education.
Ah, there you go.
Yes. No, so of course if you have your hunter safety taken, now you got to go and take a lion course.
Okay.
And, it goes over how to identify the sex of a lion and, what you're able to take with it.
Okay.
And, how many dogs can you have? There's a limitation on dogs. It goes
You can't
into
just
a lot.
open the gate and just send 20 dogs. And
No.
see how,
I wouldn't
how
even
they
want
fare.
to. I guess it'd be kind of funny to watch.
Just zoom
but
out on your big screen to see all the GPS marks and everything, and
Right.
where all dogs are going different ways.
It'd take a week to get your dogs back.
Jeez, yeah.
From the test that's out there, and then hound hunting, your knowledge basis increases obviously with the more and more you do it, right?
Yeah.
So really what's happening is houndsmen are facilitating a huge knowledge base to anybody that's wanting to hunt a mountain lion versus, let's say, there's some other states where it's free rein,
Yes.
we'll call it. There's, essentially coyote management tactics type.
There is, unfortunately. And most of the houndsmen that I have encountered are against that type of management.
So
Whether we agree or disagree, we're never going to agree always with our biologist and CPW.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they're our only tool that we have to be able to make sure that we can continue hunting lions and being able to still have lions. So it's easy to call them out, but if we're in their shoes too, like it's hard to look at both sides. But I think we all need to, because there is definitely a lot worse things than being able to have that argument of what's right and what's wrong with the management.
So it's almost a continuous conversation throughout this whole process of being able to hunt, how to hunt. This didn't work, this does work, from the houndsmen, from the hunters, from biologists, from CPW, and not just the antis that are saying, no, you can't do this. No, you shouldn't be able to access this land. You shouldn't be able to do all those types of things. It's a continuous conversation every year, every season, that this is going to have to change. This is going to have to be modified. This is going to have to be pulled back, just like you were talking about the different areas. The method of take, utilizing hounds, is the most efficient, the most capable way for us to get as much information as we can off of the landscape, so that we can provide that back to CPW or the biologist if asked, I guess, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you do take a lion, what's the reporting requirement?
Yeah. Do tell us, how in depth do you have to be?
It's very in depth. Unlike deer and elk, when you harvest a mountain lion, you have, I want to say it's 72 hours to at least call a game warden and report that that lion has been taken and out of what quota unit. And then, if not at that same time, within that same amount of time, you take that lion, either meet a wildlife officer or take it down to your closest CPW office, and they pull a tooth to be able to age the lion, and they report, the coordinates of where it was taken, method of take. Well, did you use hounds? Well, most of the lions taken in the state of Colorado are going to be with hounds. So yes, hounds were used. Did you harvest it with a bow, or did you harvest it with a rifle, or was it a pistol? So it goes very in depth in comparison to all the other animals that we hunt.
Yeah. And didn't they just recently change what you could actually hunt lions with, as far as the caliber or the method of take?
That I'm not sure on. I know you got to dig pretty deep, because for a long time, it's always been stated that it's a big game animal.
Okay.
So the big game animal requirements, as far as your cartridge being used, needs to be X, Y, and Z. But if you dig deeper, there are exceptions. They're harder to find. And it took me and a couple guys that knew how to look through those books to be able to figure out, hey, yes, we can use, say, a 357 pistol, because it has to meet a feet per second and all that is a requirement.
Foot pounds, I think, is the other criteria.
Foot pounds of energy being carried.
Okay. So we're kind of talking about the take. So you've treed the lion. I mean, are they 70 feet in the air? Are they 20 feet in the air? Are you like right below them? What is the scenario of you've treed a lion and now you're identifying, making sure it's the right age, it's the size, it meets all of these other criteria that you've worked for potentially how many plus hours of tracking?
You can go half an hour to multiple days.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you're going to see them and they're going to be 10 foot away.
Oh, wow.
Other times they're going to be 20, 30, 40, just depending on where you're at and how uncomfortable that lion felt as the dogs were encroaching closer.
Right.
I've seen them to where you can almost touch them, or at least you feel that.
Right.
And then somebody's videoing it on the other side, and you're like, I was right next to him. And then you watch the video, and you're 10 foot away.
Right. Still, 10 feet away from an apex predator that, with a swipe, could end you.
Absolute, just apex predator is the number one attribute for them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It is. They are the apex predator, where they can go, where they travel, and what they're capable of.
Yeah.
12,000 feet to the valley floor, huh?
Yes. All the way up, all the way down.
Had you ever gotten a cat on a ledge that it just was absolutely worn out and decided that this is where I'm stopping and I'm either going to fight myself out of this corner, or is it mostly treed?
Most of it's trained. We have bait a few, and I made the mistake of telling a friend that we were on a lion hunt, and I made the mistake of telling him, well, if we catch one on the rocks, I'm just going to retire. We ended up catching one on the rocks, and it wasn't necessarily like what you imagine on a rock and the dogs are right in its face. It was an outcropping of a rock that it was all around. It was kind of lower, and the outcropping of the rock come up almost like a tree.
Yeah.
But of course, just rock. And the lion was just sitting, and as comfortable as can be. They're not until you make them uncomfortable,
right,
or get too close within a range. They're 100% comfortable. I've seen them fall asleep in the tree while the dogs are underneath and just barking away.
Yeah.
So with that retirement, where are you at being 5th generation Coloradan houndsman, been to the deepest, darkest holes of chasing them? Now where are you going?
Well, I decided I'd more or less take a pause on the houndsman into things, at least the lion hunting, because I have 3 young kids, and we have decided that we think it's going to be the best opportunity for our kids to go to Texas. We're going to try Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And we just don't align with what is happening political wise and just community wise within Colorado.
Mm-hmm. Was that before 127, after 127, or just in general?
It was a mixture of all the above. We'd spent quite a bit of time in Texas fishing, bass fishing, whatnot down there, and my wife and I both really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the weather. Right now is probably about the hottest time of the year down there, so I'm not really looking forward to going down there now, but other than that, the change of scenery is awesome. So it was there before 127, but with 127 was kind of a big wake-up call of, this was my livelihood and for the longest time, and 127 could have taken all of it away, and I didn't know what I was going to do. You look at other states and you think about, the help from other states in something like 127. Houndsmen really like to be out on their own by themselves. They want to hunt. whatever X number of ground, they don't want to see anybody else. They don't want to run into another houndsman, because then there's that competition. So amongst friends in other states, they're like, no, we're going to help you win 127 because we don't want you living next to us and not in the same country. Like, no, we're here to help.
Wow.
That was actually a proven number by, and Dan Gates said a lot of the support was from out of state.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot. I think he said like 80%.
Wow.
It was something.
That's
it was
a
a
huge
wild
number.
number,
That's huge.
which is concerning, right?
Extremely.
Because here in Colorado, there's a lot of, game and sportsmen and women, and these are things that we should be paying attention to.
Right.
And the thing that I look at is something like that sparking a light bulb of like, I mean, you're somebody of the community, you have another business that'll stay
Yes.
here, it'll still be alive and well, but to spark somebody like you to think to go somewhere else is concerning to me, right?
It was kind of a sidebar conversation of like, Josh is leaving. He has a successful business here, and kind of drove us to kind of invite you for this, and not to get into the personal reasons, but like what with 127 and the previous and the wave that has continued to hit the state of Colorado, that would affect our ability to hunt, our ability to live and enjoy the outdoors. Like, I was like, I want to know, like, a successful business person is deciding to take his family, hopefully for the better, right? But what, that hurt, I think, me at the core, to see somebody that is Colorado, born and raised, to see what the state is coming to and feel as though like there may not be an end in sight. And I wanted to pose that question to you, is like, do you think with the momentum that we got with 127, there is a potential for that wave to subside and for us to create something that we want Colorado to be as outdoorsmen, as hunters, as consumptive users of the outdoors? Or is it of your opinion, and I trust you to be honest, that this wave is just going to continue to crash down on us hard?
Me personally, I think it's one of those deals where we are the first generation that's had it. Is it easy? We have it better than any other generation that's ever preceded us. And we're also probably the first generation amongst most of us that don't have a close relative that did not ranch or did not farm. I can remember growing up, all my buddies, even myself, we had close family members that had those, if we didn't have them ourselves.
Right.
So there was the knowledge and the basis and the respect of the Western lifestyle, if you will. And I think we are starting to lose that. I don't know if it's a battle that is already lost. I think with, the help of Dan Gates has been instrumental, as well as everybody else that's ever come to the table and donated just $1 to a cause, or even stopped and thought about, shooting's not that bad. Well, I really don't want to go kill an elk, but I'd like to learn how to shoot. Well, you don't have to kill anything to be able to enjoy.
Right.
So I think we need to kind of come back full circle and do more education than the fighting back and forth.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's a lost battle. There's, we talked earlier on the Colorado Bow Hunters Association and their jamboree. There's nothing about that. I imagine there's guys out there that don't hunt, but they go out there because they like shooting targets with their friends and they like shooting their bow. That's fine.
Yeah. They need to be part of that conversation to keep Colorado the way it is then.
Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe not necessarily keep it the way it is, make it better.
I like that.
We have, in the western states, and this is something that I have recently thought about, actually due to trespassers on our property. But a lot of these people, I think, come from out of state and they hear, well, the western states have all this public land. And we do, we have a bunch.
Yeah.
But what are the proper ways of getting to it? And just because there's not a fence around something or not a sign doesn't mean it's public.
Right.
So the education is huge on this battle, and I think great things are being done with that. But I definitely don't think it's a losing battle.
Yeah.
I just
It's gonna be a
think
tough one.
it is. I think for me and my family right now, I don't know if this is the right move or the wrong move, but I'm never going to know if it's the wrong one or the right one unless I try it.
Yeah.
So something that you touched on seems to be that we're one of the first generations that's kind of removed from ranching. Do you also feel like we're one of the first generations that's removed from having somebody who is a hunter in their family?
Yes, 100%. We have to keep these things going, and that is why there are activities such as the Ted Nugent Camp for Kids to be able to bring kids that are not able, their parents don't hunt, they live in Denver or Colorado Springs, but it's a way to get our younger generation out and be able to inform them of this is what a elk call is, and this is how you use it, and this is what we have elk for. And they have at the Camp for Kids there, they have several different stations of learning for the youth. There's trapping, there's of course the houndsman in it, there's fishing. Some of those kids have never picked up a fishing pole.
Mm-hmm.
And here they're able, and we can show them why we hunt, why we fish. It's enjoyable, but the basis is because we eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we have to. That's what we have to do to survive.
Yeah.
And it's not so much as a hunter, the take is 1% of the whole, as it is as a whole, right? So houndsmen, 99.9% of the time, it's dog training, it's dog food, it's
The right dog food.
The right dog food, right? It's the training up dogs, it's literally running lions, going to the tree. This isn't something that occurs just from the comfort of a chair in your house.
Right.
You're out there running roads, trying to get track lions, right? And then from there, 1 mile, 5 miles, 10 miles of hiking, right?
At the bare minimum.
Yeah. So, and like you said earlier, multiple days.
Yeah.
And the last 1% of this, 0.1%, is maybe the take of an animal. So you have all that time, effort, knowledge put into this, and it's so much more than the take.
Yeah.
Personally, and I don't know if you feel this way or not, when I take something, I'm like, dang, season's over.
Yes.
I get to enjoy this food. I respect the animal. There's a definite piece there that I don't know if it's a just human genetic thing or what, but I look at it as, now I get to eat this and I will enjoy this animal for the rest of the year.
Yeah. It's a gift.
Yeah.
A hard-earned gift.
And you look at it, even, at that same level, you look at the friendships that it brings you,
yeah.
the community, the people that you meet, good, better, and different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even with the guys that you run into that, you don't get along with, it's a bad interaction. There's very few of those.
Mm-hmm.
There's more good times, good friends, more bonds made, and more knowledge. I mean, you walk through the woods with somebody that you haven't, and they're going to teach you something.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much more than just the end result of the kill. And even after they kill, and after you get it home and after you process it, there's so much more there. I mean, what are you going to make with it? You green chili, you start looking up recipes, you talk to different people. Well, try this, try that. It goes so much farther beyond that.
There's another
that
conversation
1%.
and just the preparation too.
Yes.
Wow.
I think a lot of people don't talk about that too, is the conversations that are had in the woods.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's been $1 million ideas that have been totally forgotten before you get out.
Yeah. I do have to ask this. You know, when I first started thinking about a lion hunt, taking the test, thinking about the use of dogs, it crossed my mind as like, this potentially has a wonderful reward at the end of it. But it crossed my mind, and I know people are thinking it. I know that one person that is watching this might be thinking it too, is like, what about the potential for cruelty or inhumane? How do you describe to somebody that already has their mind made up that this is an inhumane way to hunt, as a method of take for both the dog, which we've already talked about, how they're pampered, how they're taken care of, how they're trained, how they're treated, and how it potentially could be inhumane and not respecting the lion? How would you phrase that to somebody that, obviously you've talked about them, the lions, at the end when they are, treed, or they're comfortable, like until they feel 100% threatened, they may not react, or they may not, like, how do you know? How do you know that in your gut and in the visual that you get from them, that you know that this is the best way for us to manage that type of an animal, and for the process of us keeping mountain lions as strong as they are in the state?
It's a very hard thing to be able to describe.
Yeah.
Because there is, you have the use of hounds. You basically paint this picture that you don't think you're painting a picture in a bad light, but it's almost hard not to somebody that is not willing to understand and not willing to see it. My only go-to would be find an outfitter.
Yeah.
Go with somebody, because it is not what you think, not at all. It's not just let the dogs out and go see a lion. You're not walking. You may only walk 200-300 yards.
Yeah.
That is rare. Most of the time I've gone multiple miles in a day. We've done 14-15 miles in a day.
How many miles do the dogs do compared to you, though?
I have tracked, and that's the other great thing about our technology, the way it is now. It's come so far that it will tell you that the dog has gone 20 miles, and another dog will be at 18 miles. They just took shortcuts or didn't weave back and forth as much. It's the dogs travel far beyond what we do, because we try the path of least resistance, and the dog doesn't. The dog goes wherever that track goes.
Yeah. So it's a true experience to create an enlightenment for somebody that just doesn't want to listen to somebody that has that experience. And that could be anything in life, right?
Yes.
So the best way to, God, I wish there was a better way.
I wish there was too, because it's, especially when 127 came up, it, for a lot, probably all houndsmen and women, was basically life-threatening.
Yeah.
These dogs are our pride and joy. They're basically our kids.
Yeah.
We've seen them, grown up with them. If you bought one that a buddy started, your buddy always calls you and goes, "How's that dog doing?" "He's doing good." "Well, tell me, what's going on with him?" So it's a lot more than what people, I think, see from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
And I wish there was an easier way to describe it and an easier way to show light on what actually goes on. Because it's not. We've seen multiple lions in trees fall asleep while we're there. The dogs, the noise at a tree is, you cannot have this conversation at a tree. You will be hollering.
You're yelling. Yeah. Wow.
And they're out there content as can be.
Mm-hmm.
And you can walk away. And when that lion feels that you're gone and you're not going to come chase it, they come down and they go about their merry way.
Wow.
I mean, it shouldn't be taken out of the context that it has been taken out of.
Right.
Because it's not fair on either end.
Can you really call yourself pro-wildlife if you've never tracked a mountain lion?
Thank you, Josh. I really appreciate the time spent. I know we're going to definitely miss you as you take the family on to the next adventure. And again, this kind of goes back to what you're saying, the wealth of knowledge and the expertise and those conversations that you potentially had with others. I think it's something that we're going to lose out on in the state of Colorado and even in our small little county here. So I want to thank you again for everything that you've done in the past, and wish you the best of luck in the future, and hope everything works out, and I'm hopeful that you'll come back and visit us.
I'll almost definitely come back. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks
Really
for having me.
appreciate it. Really appreciate it. As a person I would consider a friend, I wish the best for you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Again, we're Salida Gun Shop, and we hope you stay tuned for more.
Thanks again. And if you like this kind of content, hit that like button, subscribe, put a comment. Thank you.